everything that you need to know before you go live on Whatnot. I'm literally going to teach you like every aspect of the pre-show, the building the show, the running the show, blah, 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 how to set everything up. I'm gonna try to pound this out quickly. I got a show in like an hour and 22 minutes. So, and I haven't set it up yet. So we have like roughly an hour to pound this out. Hopefully this is a more concise video than the last one. I tend to yap. Anyways, a lot of people make a lot of mistakes when they first start. I know that I did. And if this video saves you some of the headache, then the video did its job. Let's dive right in. Picking a day and time for your first show, or for your next show, any show. There is no magic day or time. Whatnot is a 24/7 app, 24/7 platform. You can go live at 3 in the morning. You can go live at 5 a.m., noon, you get the idea. It's always awake, people are always on. Does that mean that you should go live at 3 a.m. just because you can? If you're just starting out, probably not. That's not gonna be where the crowd is. You feel me? The crowd is gonna be when people get off work, maybe if their job's slow, they jump on, like if they have a desk job, they'll like jump on lives like during their work day. It's like a little, they'll treat you like a little podcast in the background type thing. So you really have to decide who your audience is, what your demographic is. Are you targeting Gen Z? Maybe they have a lot more fast-paced jobs. They're like baristas, they're cashiers. They don't have a lot of time to like stop and check their phone. So like when they're working, they're not going to be watching your lives. Is it millennials? A lot of millennials have desk jobs. They're boring, just a lot of paperwork. Their boss is not breathing down their neck, so they're looking at their phones. Same with boomers. Is it retired people? They got all day. They could be on at any time. Is the retired community super concentrated on Whatnot? No, but they're there. I see quite a few grandparents on there shopping, especially for their kids and their grandkids, nieces, nephews, blah, blah, blah. So decide what your demographic is. Try to surmise, just take an educated guess, when are those people going to be on? And this is going to be, as everything is on Whatnot, a ton of trial and error. There is no magic formula for, there is no magic formula that I can give you that's going to work for everybody, but I am going to teach you how to figure out your formula, your magic, everything. Your magic settings that work for you every time. You keep reusing that format and it's going to keep working for you every time. Okay, that's what we're going to learn. We're going to learn how to figure out the perfect show for you. So, day and time, I've done all different times. When I first started, I would do 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. because I shipped all of my own orders. I wanted everything to go out same day, so I would end the show by 1, so I had time to pack and then bring stuff to the post office by 5. That was how I rolled. Obviously it was hard to gain traction because how many people are on at 10 in the morning East Coast time? Like that's 7 a.m. Pacific. You're not really getting that crowd. I was pretty limited to the East Coast crowd and also the crowd that were millennials and like had time to be on their phones at their jobs and stuff like that. So that was very limiting. I later moved into the afternoon. I tried out the 12:45 time slot. That worked very well for me for a very long time. I'm now at the 5 p.m. spot. I've been at the 3 p.m. spot. I've tried 8 o'clock at night. I've been kind of all over the board. I've never done the wee hours of the morning because I have a circadian rhythm and a wife, and I like to keep the same sleep schedule as her. So I've never done anything crazy like that, but I have tried the morning, early afternoon, middle of the afternoon, evening, late evening. Like I've been all over the place. I would not say that there's any magical day of the week, magical time of the day. Sometimes Wednesday at noon is the best show I've had all month. Sometimes Saturday at 5 o'clock is the best show that I've had all month. Like, a day of the week is not necessarily going to be better than another day of the week. Do you have a higher likelihood of having a good show on the weekend? Yes. Does it guarantee that every show on every weekend is going to be a good show? No. So I wouldn't put all your eggs in the weekend basket because a lot of other people are putting their eggs in the weekend basket. It's when they're off work. If they're doing it part-time, the app's going to be flooded with lives. So it's going to be harder to get people to come to yours because there's going to be so many options. You have to consider that too when you're picking days and times. Are you a very small seller? Maybe you should seize the opportunity of this isn't a very concentrated time of day. I could build my following when it's a slower time because like you want to be the most entertaining thing on. That's the goal. You want to be the best show that is currently live. So when you go live, Whatnot puts you at the top of the algorithm, the top of people's feed, and that's going to drive a lot of new sales, new traffic, new followers. Okay. That's why I stuck around at the 12 to 1 time slot for the longest time, because no other big sellers were in that time slot. I wanted to be a big seller, and I knew that I had to put in my time at that time slot so that I could then compete with the big dogs. I could like go live when they're going live and still pull over 100 people in there. That was the goal. I feel like I accomplished that goal, and now I'm moving later and later into the day when there's fiercer competition. I'm still able to compete with them. I'm still able to pull the same numbers. So consider the concentration of lives when you are choosing times. I notice, especially in the video game category, I think every category is the same. Early mornings, there's not going to be a high concentration of lives, okay? There's also, if you're in a small category like video games, there's not going to be a high concentration of buyers. So choose wisely. I think in the Pokemon category, you can get away with streaming literally any time of day. There's always thousands of people in that category. But video games, if you go live in the morning, there might only be 50 people in that category for you to attract. So, smaller pool of sellers equals smaller pool of buyers, just anytime, any given day. I think that anytime, any day, you're going to attract around the same amount of people, because the more people that are available, the more people are going to stream, the more saturated the app's going to become. But also, there's going to be more buyers on the app too. So they're going to be spread more thin, but I feel like the shows will still get, in their own respect, the same amount of attention that they would at really any time of day, because the buyer and seller concentration, like how many people are on the app at the same time, they tend to go up in tandem and down in tandem. If you get really lucky and you stream one day and like one or two other big sellers just happen to not be streaming for whatever reason, you're golden. That's your golden ticket. You sell the out of that show, okay? You sell things you weren't even planning on selling that day. If you got leftover, if you got stuff sitting on your shelf like I do, rip that stuff down and start doing dollar starts. This is your moment. You need to seize opportunity when you find it, but there is no magic day or magic time. You just need to find what works for you. Talk to 7 minutes about bullet point 1. We're fucked. We're fucked. Title and thumbnail, super important. It is people's first impression of you. They don't know you. They have not decided to watch you, let alone give you their money yet. They have decided none of those things, and the way that you hook them is the title thumbnail. So put some effort into it. Put some effort into it. I am so tired. Look at this. I am so tired. This is video game category, very guilty of this. I don't know how much this goes on in other categories, but I imagine it does a lot. Just kind of just like pictures of walls of video games, or like logos. People use memes, like just pictures of shelves of video games, bins of video games, stacks of video game. Look at that. You see how that is very bright, very colorful, very easy on the eyes. There's not a lot going on. Purple background, girl with blue hair holding Switch 2, free arrow pointing to Switch 2. You kind of get the gist of the hook just by this image. There's only one thing happening in this image, and it's me holding a Switch 2 that's free. That's it. Very easy to look at. Really pops out on the feed. You see how much it popped? You see how it kind of makes you stop? You see how it literally caught my attention. I wasn't even expecting it to be there. I wasn't watching the time scroll by on the feed. But like, do you see how this catches your attention? Because it doesn't look like anything else in the category. Watch, we're gonna find another big seller, and I'm sure you'll notice when we get there, their thumbnail is not going to look like other people's thumbnails. It's going to grab your eye immediately. It's gonna grab your attention immediately. Boom. A face holding a grail, big colorful letters, arrow, super simple, super simple. Bro, I literally, did I gloss right over? Oh, I was looking for Ready's Games on this side of the screen. Another great example. It is a little cluttered. I wouldn't say that they have the best thumbnails in the whole world, but I think that they get enough bookmarks on their shows that when they go live, Whatnot is blasting their lives to new buyers. Anyways, so they don't super need the help. Ready's Games typically has like 200 people in their room every night. So when they go live, they don't have to do a ton of work to bring people in. It just kind of like, it's a snowball effect. The bigger you are, the easier it is to get bigger type shit. But yeah, Skylar's another good example. let's see. Yeah, but some more simple designs. I feel like popular opinion. Also, thumbnails leave a lot to be wanted. This is clearly just like a little bit of AI mixed with Photoshop. There's really no like, other than slapping the logo on top, there is no personal touch to that. It's text that says sealed, and then it has 3 logos of is the Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo logo, and then his logo. So it's just 4 logos, and it says 100% sealed. So like, it gets the point across, but also there's nothing. This doesn't excite me at all. It really doesn't. I'm sorry. It just doesn't excite me. You know what excites me? Skylar's excites me. That is a very expensive game that he's auctioning for $1. Do you know what else excites me? And I'm not even being like biased towards myself. I think that if I objectively viewing this from outside looking in, I would say that that's a really good thumbnail, okay? Thumbnail comboed with the title. You can't read the whole title, you don't have to. When you get the notification, you'll see the full title. But bright purple background, cute girl, Switch 2, free. Title is literally free Switch 2. Does it matter what the show is beyond that? No, because new buyers on the platform don't know what $1 sudden death surprise sets are. When they get there, when they join to win the free Switch 2, they're going to learn. They're going to learn by watching for a few minutes what the show is. But I don't think that making that first in the title is going to help clarify what the show's actually about, especially not to new people, because what you really want, you want your regulars to come back and you want to drive new traffic, but the new traffic is not going to understand all of this whatnot jargon. So don't let the whatnot jargon or the video game jargon be your hook. Make something really fucking easy to chew on your hook. It needs to be shocking. It needs to give them a reason to click on your video. You are not there for your benefit. You are there for their benefit. Give them a reason to come to you, okay? Give them some motivation to come to you. Even if you don't want the $1 grail that Skylar is selling, don't you want to see that auction? Don't you want to watch something that's worth hundreds or thousands of dollars be auctioned starting at $1? That's incentive to click. What comes after that is what comes after that. You have a chance to grab the audience again and make them stay long term after they click. But if you don't get them to click, if you don't give them that initial incentive to click, you've lost them. You've potentially lost them forever. They're going to find a different seller on this platform. They're going to become regulars of them. They're going to be loyal to them. If you want to drive new traffic to you, title and thumbnail, so essential. You want to be their first experience. They're going to have so much loyalty with you, okay? They're looking for a new game. They're looking for a pair of Joy-Cons. They're looking for a console. They're going to come back to you. They're going to think of you first because you were their first experience. That's what you want. Promoting the show, whether it be in other people's shows, you do like self promos, promoting the show through the Whatnot promo tool where you like literally pay to boost you in the algorithm. Do not recommend that. Said that in my last video. I do not recommend that. I don't think that it necessarily helps, especially not for brand new sellers. There's going to be a lot of sunk costs you're going to have to do. You might be doing giveaways and losing money on those giveaways. You might be losing money on inventory just to get people to come and be loyal. Like, you don't need to like sink more, you don't need to create more costs for yourself that aren't guaranteed to turn any profit. So I wouldn't pay to promote the show at all. Don't do that. You should be gaining an audience through your own merit. I think that sponsoring giveaways and other sellers' shows that are relatable to your shows, that could be a good tool. It really depends on who you buy the sponsorship from. Do they have a loyal audience? Is this audience going to be loyal to you? Like, I think that going into people's shows who have a more intense like loyalty with their customers are going to drive loyal customers to you. I don't think that necessarily going into the largest show means having the best buyers coming to you, because you don't want just eyeballs. You want the best buyers coming to you. You feel me? You want the most loyalty to be driven to you. Because I don't care about 100 people who make one purchase a month. I care about one person who makes 100 purchases a month. That person is far more valuable to me than the 100 people I never see again. But yeah, another great thing that you can do with sponsoring giveaways and other people's shows, not only does it draw attention to you as a new seller, but it's a great way to build bookmarks. Bookmarks may not seem like a thing that's important, but it is. It's super important in the Whatnot algorithm. The higher the bookmarks your show has before the show starts, you can't get any more bookmarks after it's already started, but before the show starts, if you build a lot of bookmarks, Whatnot is going to think that that show is worth saving for later, worth being notified about. It's got something that grabbed people's attention. It's probably going to grab people's attention after you go live. So it's going to push it in the algorithm more. You're going to be higher on the For You page. You're going to be higher in the recommendations if you build a lot of bookmarks before the show starts. If it's your first show ever, I would recommend using other people's shows, sponsoring giveaways in them to build your bookmarks. If you're already doing shows on a regular basis, use your own shows as a tool, okay? Instead of trying to purchase other people's customers' loyalty, just reward your own customers who are already loyal for bookmarking. Okay, what I started to do recently, and it's really helped my shows in the algorithm, it's really helped their bookmarks. I promise giveaways if we hit certain bookmark milestones. You get my next 3 shows to 200 bookmarks, I'll give away this. You get them to 250, I'll give away that. It gives people, and it doesn't cost them anything other than 5 or 10 seconds of their time, but that time would have been spent watching your show anyways. So it really doesn't take them any extra time. It takes minimal effort, and they could potentially win something worth $50, $100, $150 just for helping you out in the algorithm. They don't even have to come to the show. As long as they bookmark it, it boosts you in the algorithm. That's it. So easy. So definitely huge focus on bookmarks. Make sure that you are not undervaluing them. Make sure you're not ignoring them. They're going to help you long term. In terms of what to sell, obviously there's no perfect thing to sell. Everybody in every category sells something different. But a huge mistake that I see people making constantly is trying to get people to buy what they're selling instead of selling what people are buying. There's a huge difference. You might have a personal game collection that you're trying to sell to make a little bit extra money. If you have really solid titles in this collection, you're probably going to move that stuff. That's going to go. You're going to get a decent price, like as far as market value goes, okay? You're going to get some good deals on that stuff. It's going to move. If your personal collection is a bunch of crap, it doesn't matter if you're running it for dollar starts. It's not going to give people incentive to sit around and watch the show to buy a bunch of common games. Okay? You need to be selling what people are buying and not trying to force them to buy what you're selling. I used to do PlayStation themed shows. People didn't really like those. I used to do Xbox shows. People didn't really respond to those. Did I have some response to them? Do I still get requests for them sometimes? Yes. Is it enough response? Is it enough attention on those things to warrant bidding wars at the dollar starts that I run? No. I got horrible margins on those shows. Doesn't matter if a few people want them. If you're doing dollar starts, that's not enough people to bid it up to the true value. People are going to tap out way before you hit that market value, and you're going to lose a lot of money. I wasted a lot of time on PlayStation shows. So you need to be selling what people are buying. Do I necessarily love the Nintendo Switch? Looking at that bookshelf, you would think so. I don't. It's my least favorite console. I would rather have an Xbox or a PlayStation all day. It's the worst one. I do not like Nintendo that much. They're not a very nice company. They make a lot of questionable decisions. I think that their original franchises aren't like amazing. I don't really care about Mario. I've only played like one Pokemon game, and I like Zelda. That's really the only reason that we bought the Switch one in the first place, was for Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. But as a company, I don't care for Nintendo. If I got to choose what I would sell, it'd be PlayStation games all day long, because I think that they have the best titles and the most interesting stories and the most fun gameplay, but that's not what people are buying, so that's not what I'm selling. I gotta be Nintendo girly. I gotta blow steam up Nintendo's ass every single day and just absolutely like deep throat their company all the time, but it makes money. And I am not here because of my preferences. I'm here for the customer's preferences. If that means drinking the Nintendo Kool-Aid, then I'm drinking the Nintendo Kool-Aid, unfortunately. So you need to sell what people are buying, not what you want to sell. When it comes to setting up the style of show that you're going to run, are you going to do a buy it now show? Are you going to run auctions, traditional auctions, just one thing in front of the camera? That's what's live. That's what we're bidding on. Or are you going to run a surprise set? Those are your 3 options. Buy it now shows, I hate them. I hate them, and I hate that that is a category on the app. It's the online equivalent of like somebody going to a convention to sell their stuff and then around their table there's just kind of like like 10 chairs in like a musical chair like semicircle fashion, and we're all just kind of sitting there looking at each other, like thinking about if we're gonna buy something. But none of us really do buy anything, but we just kind of like look at the person's table. And then once we're done looking at the person's table, we like get up from our chair and then we leave, and there's not much to talk about because nothing really happening unless people are actively buying. Nothing's going on. I don't understand those shows because Whatnot is huge on entertainment value, and those shows, as far as I'm concerned, provide almost no entertainment value. I would stay far away from them. I don't even know why they offer that as a category. It's horrible. It's horrible. I'm sorry. You need to put on a show. You need to be creative. You need to be entertaining, and those shows are not it. Those are a stream killer. I understand that you want to get full value for your games. Who wouldn't want to get full value for your games? But if that's the case, you might just need to go on eBay, list it for full value, and wait. Because you're not going to get full value on Whatnot. I'm so sorry, but this is not the platform for that. Should you run auctions or should you run surprise sets? I feel like, unfortunately, I was the one who made surprise sets really, really popular in the video game category, and now you can't fucking get away from them. I feel like every new seller, instead of running normal auctions, is just doing surprise sets, which is super valid because I learned very early on you're gonna get way closer to market / over market value for your shows if people are gambling. They will spend more money to gamble because of the what? The entertainment value. Because it's fun. It's fun. People pay for the entertainment as much as they're paying for the games. Half the time, they're paying for the entertainment more than they care about winning the games. If they spent $400 to win $300 worth of games, but they had a good fucking time doing it, you know, it's the same thing as walking into an arcade, understanding that you're paying $100 for this little dumb miniature foosball table that you're gonna win at the end. Like, you understand you're overpaying, but you had a fun experience at the arcade, and then you also got a thing at the end. You want a thing at the end. It feels like you didn't actually lose money because you got to walk away with the experience in addition to the thing that you won. And isn't it way cooler to say that you won your Switch collection instead of just bought it on eBay or GameStop? Isn't that more fun? That's more fun, I think. So yeah, you're gonna get, if you're, depending on your show, you know, it's not guaranteed. If you put on a bad show, if you got bad lighting, bad video quality, bad audio quality, you're not entertaining, your show's, nothing's going on visually in your show, like, you're not necessarily going to get full value. I just think that the show has more potential to get full value, more potential for entertainment value. For me, I was getting a lot less than full market value for my shows in the beginning, but in the beginning I also had access to a lot of dirt cheap inventory. I was paying like $1 for the misses and like $3 for the hits. I was charging $7 a spin. I'd put one like Nintendo Switch Lite in the show. As my shows got bigger, I would put bigger, like, I put, like, special edition Switches, like, I put a CIB Pokemon Yellow in there once, special edition 3DSs and stuff like that. So yeah, the prizes got bigger. As my audience got bigger, the spending power got larger, but you can't be greedy, and that's, I think, a huge thing, a huge mistake that people are doing in their surprise sets now. They expect to come in, and they're not paying very good, they don't have good margins on their stuff in the first place, so like they force those bad margins onto the buyer instead of just eating it, you feel me? Like, they do higher starts, but they're starting them at a price that you as the buyer know is greedy. Like, you know it's greedy. Like a $15 start, but I have a 1 in 10 chance of winning something that's worth $60. The math isn't mathing. So you're telling me I'm probably going to have to spend $150 to win something worth $60, mathematically speaking. Just do that really quick and you realize you're fucked. Like, that's not good math. That's not good math. Whereas in my shows, you have a 1 in 5 chance of winning something. But the thing that you win 1 in 5 times is going to be $50 to $60 of value. You might have better chances than that because the odds are decently high. It's 20%. You also have the chance of getting 10 to 20 times what you've paid. That happens a lot in my shows. You spend $15 or $20, you win something worth $200 to $300. Like, you spent 15 on that $300, but you just 20 times your money in one spin. You feel me? Even if you spent $200 before that, you spend 15 more and you're still $85 up, okay? That, I think, is why my shows work and why others don't. The math has to math. It has to make sense that people are taking this risk. If the amount that people are paying per auction is too close to the value of the prize that they're winning and the odds are too low, like, they're going to do that quick math in their head, realize your show is not worth it, and then you're going to be screwed. People aren't going to buy in. You're going to be sitting there for hours. Nothing is going to sell. Like, I think that there's a lot of room for failure in surprise sets. I think I'm going to make an entire video on how to do surprise sets, so I'm not going to blather about it a whole lot more. But surprise sets have equal potential to go well or to fail as a normal auction show does. I see a lot of people that are up and coming, that are smaller sellers, just running normal auctions. Are they getting destroyed on prices? Very often. But it's kind of just an expectation that you need to have, that you're not going to make any money for a while. And if you do make money, it's going to be peanuts. Like, you should not expect to make money in the beginning. You are building an audience. You are investing in your audience. You want to create customer loyalty. You want to create a good environment, and you want people to come back and one day make you money. Okay? You will have margins if you keep at it, but if you're impatient, you do high starts, you're greedy, you do buy it now, you want full value now. You can't stop focusing on the now. You need to think about your future. This is a long-term investment. I know that you see somebody like me. I've only been doing it 8.5 months. I'm about to hit, I think probably today, 19,000 followers. That's unheard of. I'm just telling you guys right now, that's unheard of. Even for me, I did not expect this to pan out as quickly as it did. That's crazy to me that has happened. So I really don't want you to use me as an example and beat yourself up if it doesn't happen as quickly, because I am shocked that it has happened this quickly, and I am the one experiencing it. So don't have high expectations. Work fucking hard. Don't give up. Don't not put the most effort into it because you don't expect to get everything out of it all at once in the beginning. Still put everything you can into it if you want to grow, but don't expect everything to come out in the beginning. It's going to come back. The effort, the reward for your effort is going to come back, but it's not going to be quick. Okay? This is a long-term investment. This is a long-term goal that we have for you. This is something that you need to invest in, and you're probably not going to make any money in the beginning. And if you're trying to make money in the beginning, people are going to feel that. They're not going to feel a lot of customer loyalty to you. They're just going to feel like you're using this as a tool to make money. It's not going to feel like much of a community. They're not going to... They might buy in to support you because you're new, because they feel bad, a pity bid. We don't like those. We want people to have fun, to remember you, to come back. And being greedy in the beginning is not going to create that experience for people. So you need to do really low starts. You need to start, honestly, my recommendation, if you're brand new, do auctions that start exactly at your break even. Worst case scenario, you're not losing money. Best case scenario, people buy in, people start bidding against each other. You make $1 or $2 per auction. That's great. There's also bidding wars, okay? That's going to make people have more fun. The more that they bid against each other, the more fun that they have. But make sure that these starts are, I want to say, if you're brand new, do not be doing anything above a $10 start. I even think that $10 might be too high. Like I said, I did $7 starts for months. I did $7 starts. When those went well, I did $8 starts. When those went well for a few weeks, I think I jumped up to 10, and then I did 12, and then I did 15, okay? Like, you need to build. You cannot grow faster than your customers' spending pool. You cannot be like, oh, I did a 20 spot show and it was great. I sold 20 things and I sold out really quickly. So tomorrow I'm gonna do 40. The spending pool is not going to grow just because your show does. You cannot be more ambitious than your customers' wallets. You have to grow with them. If you are gaining only a few new buyers every day, then your spending pool is not getting that big. Okay, it's not doubling in size. So your shows can't double in size. All you're gonna do is get worse margins and maybe make even less than you would have. So don't be too greedy too early. You can be greedy later when you're balling, okay? Don't be greedy early. I would definitely stick to surprise sets or auctions as a new seller. Literally kill the buy it now shows with an axe. They don't deserve to be on the app. They're horrible, no entertainment value, blah. I would run auctions. If you have a super, super good margin on your shit, just throw them up for dollar starts and see what happens. You're going to build a lot of customers really quickly. If you don't have great margins, or if you have a mixture of like grails and kind of like really common like Call of Duty, Battlefield, blah, shit, then surprise set might be good for you because you have a mix of good and bad, and you know, the price range of everything's going to be all over the place. That'll be a nice mixture. So just don't be greedy. Don't yell at people. If things don't go for a high price, they're not going to. You're brand new. Maybe you're not brand new, but if you're watching this video, you probably aren't a huge seller. So don't be greedy. If you do dollar starts, stuff is going to go for less than what you paid for it. That's going to happen a lot. Stuff is also going to go for more than what you paid for it. It's balance. It's give and take. Okay. So you need to do what's best for you. I would recommend trying out different styles of shows other than the buy it now style. Don't do that. But yeah, try out auctions. Try out surprise sets, see what is worth your time. Maybe you don't have a ton of time to prep. Surprise sets aren't going to be for you. They take hours to prep, even a small show. Between me and my employee, 200 spot show, that's a solid like 4 or 5 hours of prep. And somebody starting out might not have all that time to put into a show. I get it, it's a lot. So do what works for you. That's the point of this video, is finding a formula that's perfect for you and not some magic advice that works for everybody, like a blanket statement. No. I think we kind of talked about $1 versus high starts. You need the show to have entertainment value. Dollar starts are going to have entertainment value, but you might get robbed blind. Higher starts, less entertainment value, but like less chances that you're going to lose money on the show. So I feel like higher starts is fine as long as you're not greedy about the starts. Like, be like, this is $100 game, I'm gonna start it at 90. No. But I mean, I feel like $3 starts instead of dollar starts is fine when you're starting out. You don't want to get $1 for anything. I would only use dollar starts if you're a seller that can guarantee that nothing will actually sell for $1, or else you're gonna fuck yourself. So I think $3 starts are super valid. It's still a very clickable video as long as your $3 starts aren't just a bunch of games that are only worth $3. Like there has to be room between your starting bid and the actual value of the auction, or else there's going to be no bidding wars, and bidding wars are what create a lot of entertainment for your show, for the people who aren't bidding, because you're not just thinking about the people who are buying, you're thinking about the people that are watching too. So there has to be room between your starting bid and the ending bid, or else the bidding wars will not occur, and those are vital. So you can do higher starts, but leave room. Sudden death versus rebids. Sudden death can absolutely fuck you as a new seller. I don't think I'd recommend it. If you're doing higher starts, and say your starts like I recommended were around your break even, then maybe start them at your break even, do a 10-second sudden death. If people buy in, you don't lose money. If people bid it up a little bit, you make a little bit of money, but like there's no opportunity for you to actually lose money on that auction. So I feel like sudden death works for you. If you're a bigger seller, you have bidding wars all the time, like I do. Sudden death is great for you. It forces people to immediately think, what am I willing to pay? They hit custom, they type in their max bid that they're willing to pay, and then the Whatnot app automatically keeps bidding that number up if people try to bid against them until they hit their max bid. If somebody else's max bid is higher, that person will be forced to pay the maximum they were willing to pay, okay? So it really makes people consider the value of your show and pay the absolute maximum that they're willing every single time. It can also create what's called sniping, where people like bid at the very last second, because sudden death, as soon as it hits 0, whoever bids last wins. But if multiple people try to snipe at the same time, that can go from $15 to $30 really fast. So if you're a seller who has a lot of great bidding wars, a lot of loyal customers who love to bid the fuck up, sudden death is great for you. It creates a lot of tension between the customers, and it's really going to boost the entertainment value of your show too, because when even as just as somebody watching, seeing that shoot from $15 to $30 in 2 seconds, they get your heart pumping. That's exciting. Like, I, as the buyer, me as the buyer, me as the watcher, me as the seller, that shit gets your heart racing on all sides of that. Okay. Rebids are really great if you're a new seller. It lengthens the time of your show. Your shows run a bit slower. It gives more people to come in, time to discover you, time to think about your purchases. If you're selling used games and you're showing off the back of the disc, it gives you plenty of time to do that while the auction is running. It lets people really gnaw on the purchase, especially if you're selling like a higher valued thing. Sometimes I think that rebids really work for people who aren't in a hurry to sell. If you're not focused on a ton of volume, it's great, because I've caught myself. I will be like, I'm not going to pay any more than 80 for this, but it has a rebid timer, so I think about it longer and longer. The longer the auction runs, the more attached I get to winning the auction. I've bid something I was going to stop at 80 for. I bid it up to 95. Someone kept up bidding me. I tapped out $15 above what I said I was going to pay. So in that case, if it was sudden death, I would have typed in 80 and been done. But because it was a rebid and that thing was running for, I swear the auction, I think it was like a 2-minute long auction. I was really thinking about it. And I was like, oh, I've been bidding on this for 2 minutes and I don't want to lose it. So sometimes if you aren't in a hurry to sell that auction, if you don't have a ton to sell in one day in a certain amount of time, if you're not pushing a lot of volume, rebids can be great. They make the show go a little bit slower. Maybe you only have 20, 50, 100 things to sell, and you want the show to last a few hours, because the longer you're live, the longer people have time to find you, discover you, become a new buyer. So rebids can be great for new sellers. Also, if only 2 people are bidding against each other, rebids are the perfect auction for you, okay? Because if it's sudden death and one person says their max bid is 10 and the other person says their max bid is 20, you're only gonna sell it for 11 because nobody else was in there bidding. Sometimes, especially too, if people recognize that you're a small seller with not a lot of bidding wars, they're gonna wait till the last second to bid. So like, they're not gonna start bidding at $1 when the bidding starts. They're gonna wait till the very end where there's only 2 or 3 seconds left, and then they're all going to start bidding at the same time, and that thing's only going to sell for $3. So you need to be careful with that sudden death. You need to be careful. But the rebids are perfect. If I have a really bad sales day, sometimes I will turn sudden death off because I can see that only 2 or 3 people are swiping. I need them to create a bidding war, even though the bidding pool is small as far as people go. Like, you can still get the bidding wars to occur if those 2 people keep going back and forth. Okay, so you just need to test it out for yourself. I think the rebids are great for new buyers. I think that sudden death is great for higher starts and more experienced buyers. It really keeps the pace of the show consistent. I use an auto clicker. So doing rebids will fuck up my auto clicker and it won't click at the right intervals if it cannot predict how long the auction is going to last. So sudden death is great for me too, because I can just turn that auto clicker on. It runs 3 auctions per minute. I don't got to think about it anymore. That's it. So I love sudden death, but it took me a long time to get to this point. Okay. I haven't always done sudden death. I used to use rebids. I used to use higher bids with the sudden death. So it's all about what works for you, what makes sense for you. That's the case in every single bullet point we're going to talk about. The length of the auction has to match the value of the item. Don't do a 20-second sudden death $1 start on something that's only going to sell for under $10. That's way too long. That's way too long. That's $1 every 2 seconds. $1 every 2 seconds. That's too long. I do 10 seconds sudden death. My auctions go for between $15 and $25 on average. Okay? People do not need as long to bid as you think they do. I think that a minimum of 10 seconds, unless you have a stupid amount of people in your room, which in the video game category, you're not gonna have a stupid amount of people in there because that number simply does not exist in the category. I'm talking like, you don't have a, you don't even have triple digits. You got that 1 and then the K after it. If you got a K after the number of viewership, 5 seconds sudden death all day long. Spam that shit. Okay, but I think 10 seconds minimum, sudden death or with the rebid timer is gonna be the minimum. You need to let people put their custom bids in, especially if you don't pay shill bidders like big sellers do. If you don't have shill bidders, who are people who are literally paid to jack the prices of things up, but who are not actually intending to purchase anything. They're literally just there to force the auctions to go for higher. If you don't have those, which you probably don't have those. Then anything less than 10 seconds is way too fast to get people to type in their max bid. They have to hit the word custom, they have to type in a number, they have to think about it for like half a second and then hit submit. And by the time they do that with their little fingies, 5 seconds could be over. And that bid will have never processed and you would have lost that person's bid. So I think 10 seconds sudden death / 10 seconds with a 5 or a 3 or a 2 second rebid is going to be minimum, because that 10 seconds is the perfect amount of time for somebody to put in a max bid. So make sure you give them at least 10 seconds to put in the max bid. I think they would use 10 or 15 seconds sudden death or 10 seconds with a rebid timer. That's really just up to the pacing of your show. I would pay attention to, like, if you're running 15 seconds sudden death and the number stops moving at around the 8-second mark, then you don't need 15 seconds. You probably only need 10. Even, I think, stuff ending, I think the bidding ending even like 5 seconds before the auction's over, that hurts you too, because then the sniping doesn't occur, because the bid has maxed out and people have 5 seconds to think about it. And when you're running fast-paced auctions, you don't want to give people those 5 seconds to think about it. You want them to impulsively purchase. That's what Whatnot is. It is impulsive purchasing. Nobody really comes there to be like, I need this stuff. That's not what the app's for. We don't sell groceries. Like, it's never shit that you need. Whatnot is just a compulsive consumer app. It's just mega consumerism. So you don't want to give people time to think about the auction too much. You want to give them just enough time to type in their little number that they're willing to pay, and then let the wind take them. Like, so pay attention to how quickly the people stop bidding. Pay attention to how much time is left over. Maybe you're doing, like I said, 15 seconds sudden death, and that ends really quickly. Honestly, I think you could get away with 5 seconds sudden death if you're running auctions that are like only $10 or less. I think that that's a plenty of time to get the bids in like the upper single digits. So yeah, don't be afraid. Just play around with your timer as much as you'd like, especially when you're first starting out. Sometimes I play around with my timer in the middle of the show to see if it changes the bids. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it just confuses the audience and the bids go down because they don't know what the pacing's doing, and I don't know either. But yeah, just find something that works for you, and then if it's not broken, don't fix it. Just don't fucking touch it and let it run. But running very consistent auctions, regardless of your timer, running them consistently, okay? I don't want you to run a 10-second sudden death auction. That auction was super exciting, and then it takes you like 20, 30 more seconds to bring the next thing out. As soon as that auction ends, you get that thing off the screen. I want a new thing on the screen. I want a new auction running immediately. I think a minimum of 1 auction per minute is crucial. I think you should be doing at least 2 auctions per minute. At the pace that Whatnot goes, 2 auctions per minute is going to really boost the feel of your show to the watcher. I think that 3 a minute or more is what's really gonna get people like addicted to watching that shit, okay? I've seen some people do 10 seconds sudden death. They do 5 auctions a minute. That gets your heart pumping. That's exciting. There's something always going on in that show. So yeah, if you can get 2 to 3 auctions per minute or more, you're golden. Like, and you can get good prices for that stuff. You're not just getting cooked over and over 3 times a minute. You know, you need to be getting good value. But if you can get yourself up to 3 or more per minute, that is going to create so much energy in your room without even you needing to be the entertainer that you should be. But the show is going to be entertaining people for you at that point. You want the show to be able to stand on its own 2 feet. Like, if you take a bathroom break, you want people to still be like, I can't wait for them to come back so I can spend more money. You want them to be addicted. You're really unfortunately, you're creating like a consumerism addiction, these people. The difference between preloading things into your show versus doing random pulls. I see some people, they take a picture of every single item. They type up a little listing for it. This is Legend of Zelda for the 3DS. Condition is CIB, $1 auction. Like, and they have like 500 of those queued up. That is a lot of time to spend doing that, and I applaud you. It allows people to bid on the things before your show starts. They can do something called pre-bidding, where they can put in their max bid before the show even goes live, and then they don't even have to attend your show. The pre-bid feature will just bid for them, almost like a traditional eBay auction. But the auction doesn't start until the seller runs the auction during the show, but you don't have to be present. So I think I've seen someone like Retro does that. Every Friday, they do one show a week. They preload everything into their Buy It Now. People can bid ahead of time, and they just do one massive show every week. They have the whole weekend to pack it, and then they just restart the clock the next week. They spend hours and hours and hours preloading everything, and it works for them. It's what they do. It's what their customers expect. They obviously think that it's worth their time to preload, so they preload. Other sellers, like the big top dogs, they don't do that. They don't think it's worth their time. It doesn't increase bids. They know that they're there to get walked all over as far as margins, but they're able to push the volume that they need to push to make the money that they need to make. So they don't care about preloading. It's not worth their time, and it's not worth paying an employee. So they hold something up, they run it for 10 seconds. If it sells for shit, they just set it to the side and they try again. Like, they just take it on the chin and they move on, because they know they have 500 other things to sell tonight, and at least half of them are going to make money. So they're fine. They can just brush it off and go. So I think it really just depends on what style of show that you run. Some people like to run really, really fast-paced shows, and I think that doing random pulls allows you to have a really fast-paced show. I think that preloading things into the show forces you to like find the item, find the listing, pin the item, and then choose the auction timer. That will slow down the pace of your show. I think that people like Retro have no issue having a slow-paced show. They really enjoy having a very chill environment. It's the show that they like to put on. It's the show that they continue to do, and it's the show that works for them. There's nothing wrong with that. They like to do it, so they do it. It works. If it's not broken, don't fix it, okay? Just leave it. So find what works for you, find what you enjoy, and do that. No perfect formula. Setting up shipping weights is so important. I hear so many people do their first shows and they get screwed on paying for shipping because they messed up the shipping weights before they started the show, or they can't make sales because they accidentally overestimated the weight of everything. Okay, so I pretty exclusively am selling just like their Xbox, their PlayStation, their Switch, their loose discs. Nothing is going to be over 4 ounces. Everything is 4 ounces or less. So those boxes, we can mash 25, 30 games in one box. They don't weigh a whole lot. The process that I use, it's very specific to me. I'm not telling you to do it. It definitely does deter some first-time buyers, but I think that the pace of my show makes up for the fact that people are a little anxious about the shipping. So, but what I do is I created a custom shipping profile that I call 12-4. So 12-4 is the first purchase that you make is 12 ounces. The second and all subsequent purchases that you make for the rest of the show are 4 ounces. So purchase 1 is 12 ounces. Purchase 2 puts you at 16 ounces combined, which is a pound, which is priority shipping. Means that we can put all of our packages with 2 or more orders, not in a bubble mailer, but in a priority mail box. It'll usually get there to the customer a day or 2 sooner. It'll be safer in a box rather than an envelope. And it saves us money on supplies because I don't have to pay for the envelopes because the priority boxes are free and the envelopes cost me around 40 cents on average. So if I'm shipping out 200 orders a day, I would like to keep my money on the envelopes, please. So I try to push people into those priority boxes as quickly as possible. If you use the standard 4 to 7 ounce that most video game sellers use, it's going to mark everything as being 7 ounces and not 4. It's always going to mark it on the high end of the spectrum, and then the box resets after 80 ounces. So you're going to put 11 things in that person's box, and then after they make 11 purchases from your show, they're going to have to pay for shipping all over again from the beginning. They're going to pay $9.21 in priority mail for the first 11 things, and if they buy again a few more times, it's going to cost them another $9.21. So the shipping costs are just going to keep compounding into each other, and it's going to be crazy. But if you use my format, I believe you can get 17 things into an 80-ounce package. So That's like 50% more things in the box before the box resets to another priority. But since it's a custom shipping profile, most of the time it doesn't even separate the boxes out. It will actually just like keep piling like 20, 25, 30 things in one box, and they fit, so we just leave them. We don't touch them. And they normally never are overweight either. They are all gonna be 5 pounds or less because that stuff doesn't weigh hardly anything. All right, giveaways. Gonna talk about cost, frequency, and the value of the giveaway. Okay, your cost, if as a new seller or a small seller, should be extremely low. Let me preface this with saying I didn't do giveaways for months. Okay, I didn't do giveaways for months. The same day that I started doing dollar starts is the same day that I started doing giveaways every 5 minutes. Those happened in unison, simultaneously. So if you are giving stuff away constantly, you need to be selling constantly. You can't be giving away more than you're selling. You're gonna fuck yourself. So the best categories to give away in if you are a brand new seller are going to be Pokemon cards or stickers. You're going to be able to ship those if you say that they are 0 to 1 ounces. Shipping category, you're going to be able to ship those in a plain white envelope, which only costs you 73 cents per giveaway. And 73 cents plus the cost of the item. You got a little sticker made, it only cost you 10 cents to print them because you bought 100 of them. That's only an 83-cent giveaway. You got a little pack of Pokemon cards, like the Trick or Trade or something a little bit nicer. That's going to cost you $1.50, $2 a giveaway. Every 5 minutes, that's not a ton of money. Let's say you spend $2 a giveaway and you give away 12 things an hour. That's still only $24 an hour. That's not bad. That's not bad. But you have to be selling constantly. If you're giving away constantly, you need to be selling constantly. Okay? So I don't think that you should be giving away more than you're selling. That's just common sense. If you have slower paced sales, maybe you do a giveaway every 10 auctions or something like that. Every 10 minutes, if you want to keep a little like track of the time like that. I think maybe auctions is a bit easier to keep an eye on. You don't have to check the time constantly to remember the last time you did a giveaway. But so yeah, maybe like every 10 auctions you run a giveaway, every 20 auctions. Maybe you don't do normal giveaways. Maybe you only do buyer's giveaways. Maybe you do a buyer's giveaway every 50 sales or something like that. But yeah, and the value needs to be worth either if there are buyer's giveaway, it needs to be worth the money that people are spending in your show. And if it's a free followers giveaway, it needs to be worth people's time that they're spending in your show. It should make sense for them to either spend their money or spend their time in your show. It needs to be of equal value. Okay. I've talked about this in my last video, how to sell a whatnot for total beginners, that the value needs to match how much you need to promise the value that they're investing in your show. And also the odds have to make sense. If there's 50 people in the giveaway and you're only giving away a cheap pack of Pokemon cards, it's not going to be a huge incentive for people to stick around for 5 minutes unless your show already has like an amazing entertainment value and they simply cannot peel themselves away. Then like the little Pokemon cards are just like a little freebie thing and they're just excited. They're just excited to be included. For me, I will run Pokemon pack giveaways just to bring awareness to, like, please, it says bookmark shows, and then it says, like, hyphen free Japanese pack Pokemon cards. Okay, so that is less about the giveaway and more about getting people to click on the giveaway to enter it. They see bookmark shows, and then they're like, oh yeah, I forgot to bookmark her shows, and then they go bookmark like 10 of them. Okay, that's a super easy way to build bookmarks. Doesn't even take any time out of your show of you saying, please go bookmark. Like I just slap it in the title of the giveaway, and then I say what the giveaway is right after that because you have to disclose what it is. So that's a super simple way. Tying that back into building bookmarks. That's a super easy way to do it. And for me, yeah, I understand the Pokemon packs don't really like bring viewerships in. It doesn't bring new buyers in. It doesn't really incentivize people to buy, but it's an easy way to build bookmarks. If I'm ever doing like a slow part of the show, we're not really focusing on sales, I'll run one of those instead. It'll like create awareness for building bookmarks. And It'll just be it's like a little filler giveaway, a little filler. But I mean, if you only got 5 or 10 people in there and they're all fighting for a cheap pack of Pokemon cards, that might be worth their time. They've got like a 20% chance of winning. So yeah, I would, a 10% chance of winning something that's like worth like $2 or $3. I feel like that's fair. I feel like I'd stick around. So yeah, it has to be worth their time, has to be worth their money. Engaging with the chat, I mean, obviously you should be reading everything the chat is saying. You should be responding to everything the chat is saying. You should be building relationships with the people in the chat. You should be learning their names. We talked about this in the last video. But another thing that you need to deal with, especially as a new seller, a lot of people are going to tell you, if you're not running dollar starts, to run dollar starts. And the people who are doing that are watching your show. They're realizing you're not really making sales. They're trying to get you to run dollar starts because they know that it's going to go for way less than it's worth, and they know that they can rob your ass. They're not doing it for your sake. Nobody's ever going to ask you to run dollar starts for your sake. They are thinking about themselves. They don't give a fuck if you lose money. They want to get that $50 item for $6, and they know if you do a dollar start right now, there's a good chance that'll happen. Okay, so don't let people bully you into it. Sometimes I turn dollar starts off when it's a really bad sales day for me. People are like, why aren't you doing dollar starts? But then you turn dollar starts back on and they're like, well, if you want more money, you should do dollar starts. So you can't fucking please everybody, okay? Somebody's always going to have some shit to say about how you're running your show. You just need to do what works for you. And if dollar starts aren't working for you, then don't do dollar starts and don't let people bully you. They're not going to be a loyal customer just because they bullied you that one time. As soon as you start getting decent market value for your items in your shows, those cheap ass bitches are going to be gone. They're going to find the next new seller that they can bully into doing dollar starts and rob them instead. They're not going to be loyal to you just because you listen to them bully you into that. Okay, those are not the real ones. Also, I don't want to hear another person be like, "What should we run next? What do you guys want to see? Let's do a poll on what we should run next." They're there to be entertained by you. They're there for you to take the reins of this show. This is your show. You need to put the show on. You need to decide what's next. You should already have up in your mind what you're running that day. It should not be a question in your mind. You can be like, should we run the Kirby or should we run the Mario? You just need to make the decision and run it. You're wasting time. We should be doing 2 auctions a minute. We cannot be standing there asking the audience what they want. Just run it. Run the Kirby and then run the Mario. Run the Mario and then run the Kirby. Run them in the same minute. Whatever you run next, it's not going to be very long until that's over and you run the next thing. Don't think about it too much. Just do it. Face cam versus behind the camera. We talked about this in the last video too. I think that if you're showing off like very small things, very intricate things like Pokemon cards, I think that it's very important to be behind the camera so people can see the intricacies of the card, the condition, the texture, blah, blah, blah. And then maybe be running OBS or maybe have like the little face cam feature inside of Whatnot pointed at you so people can see the card and you. I think that adds a nice little layer to Pokemon shows. If you're running surprise sets, I see a lot of people run surprise sets and they just put all the games out on like a little shelf or a table and then they just point the camera at the table. You have to consider that when people are previewing you, right here, when people are previewing your show, and this little, let me try to get it to run. I think it watches where my eyes is, and then it plays something. Play something. Play a preview. Play a little preview. Oh my god, it won't do it. There it is. Okay. Look. You see this little preview? You see this little preview? If you're running a surprise set, the wheel is not in the preview, okay? You can't see the auctions in the preview. You cannot see the wheel in the preview. If people see the preview of your show and it's just a still camera staring at a still items on a table, that's all your show is going to look like. They can't hear you. They can only see you, and they cannot see built-in Whatnot features. They can only see what's literally happening in front of the camera. So if you're just aiming at a table and nothing's happening in front of the camera, the preview is going to look like trash. And you're not going to get a lot of new people. The preview is going to look like trash, okay? You need to be doing something in front of the camera. If you're not in front of it, something needs to be happening in front of the camera. You can go into Kraken Hits all the time. They always do behind the camera with the little hands in front, okay? They always do it. But what you'll see is the people's hands are constantly moving in front of the camera. They're doing 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blah, blah, blah. They're grabbing things off the table in front. If you look at the little preview, there's just a still camera with still things on the table, but the people's hands are creating the entertainment. That is creating like the engaging environment. There's something is happening in front of the camera, so that works. But if you're sitting there, you did greedy, high dollar starts, your show's not moving very quickly, you're not pulling things off the table very often, then your show's gonna look super boring and like crap in the preview. You need to have a good preview. You need to have a show that's interesting to watch without sound and without the whatnot wheel, without the auctions appearing on the screen. Like, you need to have a show that has entertainment value without any of that. You need to be, you literally, your show has to be like miming the entertainment value. People should be able to see how much fun it is inside that show without being able to hear anything. They should be able to see it. My show's supposed to be in 18 minutes. That's not happening. Okay. Hurry. We're so close. Buyer's giveaway. Definitely creates a lot of attention for your show. Attracts a lot of greedy freeloaders who will report you for no reason and get you suspended for no reason. Not speaking from any personal. I literally just got suspended this weekend because somebody reported me for withholding a giveaway that was already shipped, that was already marked as shipped, and it was already being delivered to the person, but they complained that I withheld it and lied and whatnot, believed them. So it can create a lot, there's a lot of drama around buyers giveaways. There's a lot of fucking drama because people want to come in and not buy stuff, which they're allowed to do, but it's also a shitty thing to do, but you're not allowed to talk any smack on whatnot about them because it's supposed to be, you're supposed to treat everybody equally. Okay, well, I'm running a business and they're not supporting the business. So they're just like, they're literally just walking in for this raffle that I'm doing for my buyers in my shop. And then they're just taking the raffle prize and then walking out. And then all my buyers get fucked. Like, that's how it feels. That's not very fair to the people who bought something, but whatever. They're very controversial. They can create a lot of drama around your shows. I think they get people suspended quite often. So in these dark times, which is known as July and August, the summer slump, buyers giveaways are saving my whole ass. They're saving both of my butt cheeks. Okay, they are making people come into the show. They're driving a lot of new business. They're forcing people to stick around till the end of the show so they can make sure that they enter that buyer. So it's a lot of customer and viewer retention. So yeah, they're saving my ass right now. I don't recommend you do them every show all the time. Do them when they make sense for you. Make sure that the buy cost makes sense for how much you expect to make that show. Like, if I'm doing a $400 giveaway, sure as hell better be making more than $400, little lady. Like, you better be doubling that, at least. You don't want to be giving away more than half of your profit in your buyers. But yeah, I talk a lot more about buyers giveaways in my previous video as well, but I do think they have some merit. Like I said, they create a lot of, they drive a lot of new buyers, new viewers, creates a lot of intrigue around your show. People say, free Switch? How do I get a free Switch? And then they join. Maybe they buy for the first time and they stick around all the way to the end of the show when you run the buyer's giveaway. So, a lot of customer retention, keeps your views high, keeps you high in the For You page and the recommendations, and drives a lot of new viewers and buyers because of that. So, it kind of compounds into each other. It snowballs if you do it right, but you got to do it right. Knowing when to stop. I could use that. I don't have that. I don't know how to do that. You need to know when to stop when you don't run a surprise set, and there's no definitive end, and you're just running traditional auctions. You need to know when to stop. You need to be able to see the cues. You need to be like, the bids are down, the views are down, a lot of big sellers are on right now, it's killing my traffic. You just need to call it. You just need to call it. Unless you have a huge buyer's giveaway, and you need to make a certain amount of sales to make the money back from it, then you need to keep forging ahead. But if you don't have a buyer giveaway and you're just running normal auctions, you just need to be like, it's not going well anymore, I can make more money on this stuff on a different day, and you just need to call it and you need to try again tomorrow. Okay, you need to know when to stop, because what you don't want to do is just start handing out your inventory like fucking candy and getting cooked on it. There's no point in selling things at a break even or a loss when you can sell them for a profit tomorrow. So just know when to call it quits and move on. Ending it for the day is not failure. If you said, I'm going to sell 100 things today, and you only sold 50, you didn't fail. You just did the best you fucking could, and you're going to try again tomorrow. You're going to sell that other 50 tomorrow, and you're actually probably going to make some money on it instead of being stubborn and losing money on it today just because you wanted to say you hit 100 sales. Don't do that. Don't let your ego get in the way. Just call it, move on. Show length. I think that is really determined by how much you have to sell. There is no perfect show length. I think that the amount of time that you have to work with, the amount of things that you have to sell, the rebid versus the sudden death on the auctions is going to control the length of the show as well. If you're selling 500 things and you got a rebid timer, you're going to be there all day. If you're selling 20 things and you got sudden death, your show's going to be like 10 minutes long. So like it needs to make sense for how much stuff you have. You need to make those things work in harmony together. You need to be like, I have 4 hours and I'm going to sell this much stuff. So like kind of do the math in your head. Be like, oh, I got 10 seconds sudden death. I got 200 things. That's roughly like 5 things a minute. So it's going to take me like 40 minutes. Okay, like double that. It's probably going to take you like an hour and a half. Okay. Always overestimate how long it's going to take you. Always overestimate how long it's going to take you. It takes me with the wheel 10 seconds sudden death plus the wheel. The wheel adds a solid 5 seconds to every single auction, so it takes me 2 hours to run a 200 spot surprise set at like my absolute maximum pace. So I'll just always overestimate how long it's going to take. Don't overestimate your ability to do rapid fire. It is very difficult for someone running the show by themselves. And just do the best you fucking can. But yeah, the show should be as long as your show needs to be. You need to know when to call it quits. Sometimes your show will be shorter than you think. Sometimes the show's gonna go really well. You shouldn't call it quits, and it's gonna go a lot longer than you think. Sometimes I plan for the show to end at 8. It doesn't end until 9:30, but I just made an extra 25% that I expected to make that show because I stuck around for that extra time. Okay, sometimes the money's just rolling in, and you need to know when to cash in on it. And last on the list, on the bullet points, is rating. You'll see a lot of small sellers raid a lot of big sellers because they want the attention. They want people to be like, oh my god, thank you for raiding us. Go follow this person that raided us. Does it work? A little bit. It'll get you a couple follows. It'll do a thing or two for you. Are those followers going to be super loyal to you? Probably not. Probably not. What you're better off doing is rating the people who have high customer loyalty. Raid the people who are going to appreciate your raid, because maybe you had 10 people and then you raid someone who like also has 10 people and like their viewership just doubled. And guess what? When those people are picking someone to raid, they are going to be a lot more likely to pick you to raid because you already scratched their back, so they're going to scratch yours. If you just keep raiding into the big guys over and over and brown-nosing them, that's not going to get you anywhere. The same people are going to see you raiding them. They're going to know that you did it for attention and not because you and that guy are buds, and that's not going to create any customer loyalty. So yeah, you're better off creating seller loyalty. Create bonds with other sellers. Those sellers will raid you. You raid them back. You share your loyal customer bases with each other. And yeah, you should be raiding to build relationship with the seller and not to build relationship with the buyers. As the bigger I got, I didn't start being like, now that I'm big, I'm gonna raid the big guys because I'll get more attention because it looks cool when I raid him with 100 people. They don't need my help. You know who needs my help? That guy that streams every day and he still can't crack 10 people. That's somebody that needs the 100-person raid. So I give it to them. And you know what it does? It creates seller loyalty. The seller community is going to love you. They're going to choose you to raid over the top dogs because the top dogs never give them the time of day outside of the, oh, thank you for raiding, go follow them. And then they forget they exist. But you raided them yesterday. And you raided them a few weeks ago too. So when they go to raid, they'll be like, oh, she's on. I'm going to jump in there. Might only be 4 or 5 people, but those 4 or 5 people might be loyal as fuck to that person. And if that person gives you the recommendation by raiding into you, they're going to be loyal as fuck to you, potentially. So, I think that rating for the benefit of the seller is way better than rating to grab some buyers, okay? The raids are really all about creating community. It's bringing your community and meshing it and marrying it with someone else's community for those glorious few minutes that people stick around. So you also need to be rating into people who are selling things that your audience would like. If you are a video game seller and then you raid into the luxury bags category, nobody's gonna stick around because why the fuck am I looking at luxury bags? I don't know nothing about Coach bags. I don't know anything about Louis Vuitton. So I'm gonna leave. But if you were watching a video game surprise set and we get raided into another video game surprise set, I'm probably interested because I was just paying for that a few minutes ago and I clearly like that style of shell, so I'm clearly gonna buy here. So yeah, raid for the benefit of the seller and not the buyers. But also consider what the buyers want, and your raids have to make sense or else they're not gonna work and they're not gonna benefit the person you raided at all. So don't let your ego get in the way. Don't just raid into the biggest room possible to just get tagged in the biggest room possible for the clout. That don't mean shit. Clout doesn't pay the bills. Customer loyalty, seller loyalty, community loyalty. It's gonna pay the fucking bills. Okay? So that is everything that you should know, that you need to know before going live on Whatnot. I hope this helped. I rambled for an hour and 15 minutes. Who knows how fucking long this one's gonna be. You guys will never escape this eternal circle of me yapping. I literally get paid to yap for hours on Whatnot, so why did you think that we were gonna create clear, concise videos on YouTube? Simply won't happen. I will simply ramble forever. Alright, I love you, and I will see you later. I hope you enjoyed. Bye-bye.